I'm going to present an overview of the making of the Old Spanish National and Historic Trail from 1992 to 2002. It's a timeline, it's brief, it's very broad brush. I base it on the road to the National Historic Trail designation, a narrative by Willard Lewis, past OSNHT New Mexico director. It's published in Spanish Traces in 2003, right after we gained national designation. All right. So the original impetus to win national recognition grew out of the plan to develop a trail and park system along a 26-mile stretch of the Colorado River in the Grand Junction area, which included an important segment of the OST. In 1992, through the venue of the Riverfront Commission in Grand Junction and the Colorado Board of Parks and Outdoor Recreation, these two individuals, James Robb and William Chenoweth, laid out a strategy for obtaining national designation. According to James Robb, the inspiration for pushing the NHT came in 1991 while he was reading Hafen and Haven's Old Spanish Trail. So now we're going to jump back in time. Just jump out and we'll go back to 1954. In that year, Leroy and Ann Hafen published Old Spanish Trail Santa Fe to Los Angeles, which still stands as the definitive history of the trail. And it can also be argued that without this publication, without the publication of this book, there would be no Old Spanish National Historic Trail. Okay, now we'll jump back into the early 90s. In 1993, the Colorado State Senate passes a memorial urging NHT status, and the 9 local governments along OST in Colorado adopt resolutions in support of NHT status. And all of this is basically due to the efforts of the Grand Junction group that I just talked about. 1994, Ron Kessler of Monte Vista, Colorado, who worked on trail research in southern Colorado, took up the cause of organizing OSNHT and became its first president. He immediately begins pushing for national historic status. So the push for designation is always is an integral part of OSNHT. That same year, in May 1994, Senator Campbell, Republican from Colorado, introduced SR 2078 to direct a study of the feasibility of inclusion of the OST in the National Trail System as a National Historic Trail. The study bill passes in 1996 and is signed into law by President Bill Clinton. And the feasibility study is assigned to the Santa Fe Long Distance Trails Office of the National Park Service. From 1996 to 1998, Dr. Joseph Sanchez, director of the Spanish Colonial Research Center, undertakes significant research on the Old Spanish Trail at the University of New Mexico. From 1998 to 2000, the study team informs OSNHT on numerous occasions that it has not found convincing evidence of OST's national significance. Um, 1998 to 2000, Dr. Charles Warefield and his wife, Judy, begin regular interactions with the National Park Service. At the Denver Regional Service Center and at the Santa Fe Long Distance Trails Office. they are able to respond to NPS concerns about OST meeting National Historic status. In 2000, NPS releases the draft NHT feasibility study. To no one's surprise, at OSNHT anyway, it does not recommend that the Old Spanish Trail be included in the National Historic Trail System. Quote, the study team has found that among historians, there is a lack of consensus as to whether or not the Old Spanish Trail is nationally significant based on the application of National Historic Landmark criteria. There's no question about its local and regional significance, but the national significance was controversial. So immediately, we send in Colonel Harold Steiner following the draft, and he sets up the OSTA response committee, which he co-chairs with Liz Warren. And Dr. Elizabeth Warren, in late September of 2000, this is just a few months after we got the negative response from the Park Service, submits to the National Park Service a professional and scholarly assessment of the NPS draft addressing perceived deficiencies and buttressing the arguments in favor of national significance. Finally, a few months later, after Liz, Aaron Marr, who couldn't make this conference, unfortunately, informs OSTA, based on additional information from scholars and the public responses, the final feasibility report will conclude that OST meets national significance criteria for inclusion in the trail system. Yeah, finally. So it took, 6 months or more, and we finally released the final report, feasibility study, and it concludes that OST does meet national significance. Quote, the Old Spanish Trail is nationally significant within the theme of the changing role of the United States in the world community and the topics of trade, commerce during the period of 1829 to 1848. Senator Campbell makes an appearance again. He introduces the OST Recognition Bill of 2002. After passing both the Senate and the House, President Bush signs it into law on December 4th, 2002, making OST a National Historic Trail. Some concluding remarks. It is probably safe to say that the making of the Old Spanish National Historic Trail is OSTA's greatest achievement. And its 20th anniversary is a time to honor those individuals who played a significant role in this achievement. And my last slide is the honor roll. And it's fairly subjective. It's the top 10 these people I just spoke about, but you could probably add another 50 people to that list. Thank you very much.